I'm Mari, and I'm making an Astro guide for top. So just for pre-full stuff, I like to do star at 10 seconds, and remember to give mitts to your tank, the shield cards you have. Opener is pretty standard. You want to first GCD divination so you can have it up for P2. A lot of healing in Astro's kit. It's very flexible. You can move around a lot of CDs to how you'd be used to your co-healer, or if you feel like it'd be better in some places. But something big across the entire fight is that Collective Unconscious is a 10% mitt that the other healer doesn't have. So it technically counts as an extra mitt, and you can put it on whatever you feel like needs it most. So for healing Looper, Astro has a lot of spot mitts, spot shields, spot heals, especially with all the cards they added in Bond Trail. So you want to try to use them to their advantage. Putting star down 10 seconds before the pull lets you have it up pretty early. This means you can have it down and have it enhanced for P2 opener pretty commonly. But as a result, you kind of have to use it to top people off instead of during Pento. So that's why I macro here. If you macro about right before the first laser goes off, it'll be able to be active on 3 stacks and then heal right after the third one. And because of that, since it'll top everybody off no matter what, I like to put Collective Unconscious on the third stack for the extra mitt. Otherwise, just standard, hit Horoscope, and then Neutral Sec, and then shield everybody after the Pantocrator cast finishes, so everyone's topped off by the end of the stacks. P2 opener, pretty standard. Remember to pop Lightspeed because you have 2 10% mitts that you can give to your tanks while they take these busters. Sometimes it can help a lot. And also remember, keep them up, give them a regen card if they need it. Generally the extra 10% along with some shields is enough to keep them healthy for the entire phase, but that's generally if you have a co-healer who's also helping out. Party Synergy, there's only 2 instances of damage, and you have plenty of time to heal up in between the 2 of them. So, Horoscope, as soon as downtime starts, I like to hit the Lady of Crowns, since you override it soon anyway, and just to GC heal if it's not enough. Going into uptime is when I put down the star. I wait until the boss is dotted before putting it down, because it'll pop automatically on the Limitless cast and you'll hit both of them. Because the healing is not particularly useful for this part of the fight, and it won't drift, generally. For Limitless, remember to give your tanks extra mitt if they need it, especially if you're still progging, since sometimes tanks can miss mitts. Hit neutral while you're moving in, since you only really need to cast it once, and that's after the flares go off, but just to be extra safe, you can always put shields on the meteors as well, and then also the Cosmo Memory after. I like to put Collective Unconscious on the flares, and then have Neutral Shield on the Cosmo Memory cast. Going to Enrage, you can put your star down. Make sure to pop it before she dies. Generally she dies pretty fast, so be a bit diligent with it. For intermission, Horoscope is really useful. The advantage to Horoscope is that it'll fall off after the raid-wide damage, and it automatically heals people, so you don't have to... It helps with topping people off alongside a couple other cooldowns. Make sure you shield people if they need it, Use all your mitt cards, helps a lot with healing people. You can hit light speed as well, like right before the spread goes off. Helps with the weaves since this burst here can be quite busy. You can put down your star about 2 GCDs after the Hello World cast. That's what it says on topmitty, and it's completely fine. Your heal plan for patch is going to be star on the first one. Second one is going to have neutral and horoscope. Third will have macro. And fourth will have star and anything extra that you feel like putting on it. I personally put Collective Unconscious on the fourth patch, but again, it's a free 10% mitt. It's flexible, you can put it on what you like. Move into middle and pop horoscope to proc it, and then GCD shield everyone with neutral. Everyone should be pretty comfy on this, and horoscope can be used to heal up afterward. Generally, with help from your co-healer, you won't need much more. You can macro right at the start of the third patch, and it'll fall off at the right timing to heal everybody after the damage. You don't generally need extra cooldowns on this. If you want to be a bit safer, you can also put a lady there, since you'll be an umbral draw, but as long as people don't die from the raw damage, macro will top them off completely without having to put anything extra. So, patch 4, you'll have a star on this. I like to put Collective Unconscious just to reduce the healing load. And then you have quite a while before Critical Error, which is your next hit of damage, so you can use regens to top people off. It's easier to top people off if you use Collective on patch 4. You can, if you don't have any cooldowns to heal after Critical Error, you can just GCD heal there. Generally, this boss dies pretty fast, and it's advantageous to have it live for longer, so don't feel too bad about putting extra GCDs into healing, especially if people in your party can do good damage. I like to save star here. I always put it down once the little rings around Omega fall to the ground. It heals people up after the first Protean pretty well, but also remember to use some of your spot heals and spot mitts on people throughout the phase. I like to put Collective on the first stack, just to make the healing a bit easier. And you have plenty of cooldowns to use throughout this phase. Generally, I hit neutral for the second stack, and then shield everybody while also proccing horoscope, so you get extra value out of the 1 GCD heal you'll likely be casting in this phase, as long as your heals are all optimized. Since on the last hit, you'll have Lady and Horoscope procced generally, you can use them both if people are lower than normal, but it's pretty advantageous to save one for the damage after the stack, just in case you want to GCD instead of GCD healing, since the damage there can be quite tight sometimes. Going into P5, try to keep track of what busters your tanks are soaking, and mitt them accordingly, since you have a lot more spot mitts than Scholar and Sage. The reason why I put Collective on the first stack is because it lets you have it up for Delta, since normally with topmitty you use it on Critical Error and you can't use it on Delta. It's especially nice to have in case you're progging and someone forgets to hit a mitt on the Delta cast, since that sometimes can be the scariest part. For healing Delta, you want to macro about a second after the hands appear. This makes it so all the damage you take from this phase gets absorbed by macro and tops people off entirely once it falls off, which is needed for people to be topped off in the stack. After the monitor hit goes off, you can put your star down in the middle, and just remember to GCD, pop cooldowns, make sure people are topped off for the near-far world. You can pop light speed about after the last jump, and then pot, you'll have your burst. The star you place down will be used to heal up before the last tether snap, since sometimes people can be a bit lower than normal. Again, remember, if your tanks are sinking a buster, help them out as much as you can with all the spot mitts and spot shields you have. You're not going to be using them on anyone else in this mechanic, so you might as well use them. For the Sigma cast, you want to have Collective Unconscious and Neutral Sec, just to make sure people are alive. Although neutral is kind of optional on that, since you have them 10% already. So, if you do pop neutral, remember to refresh it for the Sigma cast. For the Sigma cast, you will have Star, Horoscope, and anything extra you want to put on it to heal up. Generally, Star and Horoscope are enough to top people off. After the towers, everyone will group back up middle. You can GCD heal them just to make sure they're topped off. And get to your spot. Not much to say here. Just keep track of the mechanic. So once again, going into Omega, if this is a buster that your tanks are taking, make sure to give them lots of mitt, since you're not going to be using them. Although I will say, since the main tank will be taking autos for all of the Omega dodges in this part of the fight, it might be a bit advantageous to save some stuff, but you also get 2 really useful cards from Umbral Draw after the 2-minute. So you'll see, you do the 2-minute, you get Umbral Draw, and you can give your 10% and the regen to the tank, and that generally is enough to keep them alive. I don't do it here because I'm focusing on the dodge, but generally if you can do it, it saves you from having to look at the tank's HP during the dodges themselves. Nothing special really for Omega, just make sure people are topped off in between the mechanics, which you have plenty of time to do. So go middle, make sure you catch everyone with regens, anything you want to put on them, and then get to your position. Remember, if you see a tank taking one of the leaper tethers, make sure you top them off after the mechanic so they can take the buster. And for this buster in particular, the tanks are guaranteed to be sinking the buster. So any help you can give to them in this part of the fight is going to be greatly appreciated. Make sure people are topped off for Blind Fate. You have Star, and any of your other short CDs as well to put on it. So like Horoscope, Celestial Opposition. Remember to Collective Unconscious on the Blind Faith cast, and then you're going into P6. At this part of the fight, you should coordinate with your co-healer, who's going middle, and who's taking the first or second LB. It's standard for the regen healer to go middle and take the first LB. This footage is going to be spliced. That last pull was a wipe, so I have footage of a P6 on Astro that I did. So, as soon as you start, you want to dot the boss, put your star down, and then light speed for the burst. Pot as soon as you have it, and you can put Celestial, or you can put Collective on Cosmo Memory. Since it's an extra 10%, it's not needed, but if your Scholar wants to omit Soil on that, you can. Try to work with your co-healer for where they want you to put Collective. I like to use it on Wave Cannon 2 if I have a Scholar, Wave Cannon 1 if I have a Sage. So for Cosmo Dive, you want to pop neutral pretty late. You GCD right before the hit, and then get ready to pop Horoscope soon. You're gonna want to refresh the shield right before it falls off. So if you're gonna do that, you might as well have Horoscope on it, since it'll help a lot with the healing for Wave Cannon 1. You want to drift your star a bit so it can help out with the healing. In my opinion, I think it's okay to drift some cooldowns as long as it saves you a GCD. And star is about as powerful as a GCD, I'd say, so it's always nice to have. So if you did it right, you should have a star, and you can use Celestial Opposition to top people off. Make sure people are full HP for the upcoming Cosmo Arrow, and for macro here, you want to use it at about the end of the cast. This is to make it so it falls off in between the Proteans in the stack, and it automatically heals everyone for you without you having to do an extra weave. If you use it too late, just remember you can pop it, and there we go. Healed Wave Cannon. Since macro solos healing that, you can omit stuff as long as people are topped enough and your co-healer is also giving you stuff there. I always like to not use Lightspeed on the burst after Wave Cannon, only because it lets you get a ton of GCDs during unlimited Wave Cannon. So after Cosmo Dive, you can start to get ready for meteors. You'll want to pop Neutral Sect soon, about right before the cast goes off and everyone has to start moving out. Remember, since you're a regen healer, you'll probably be going middle. So make sure you GCD everyone from here and keep them all toughed up. Depending on what your co-healer is putting on it, you may need 1 or 2 extra things on it. Just make sure if you feel like you need it and you want to be extra safe, you can always bring things into it like Horoscope, or Lady, or Celestial Opposition. Anything that'll make healing safer for you, and again, since Astro is so flexible, you can always work with your co-healer on it. Remember, you get first LB. Well, I didn't, because my scholar here wanted me to take second LB, but generally, regen healer will get first LB unless stated otherwise. And then, yeah, that's the end of the fight. Hit the boss.